I woke up at like 6 in the morning and my heart was like.
Remember, I used to get made fun of all the time in school. I had the two things that every young boy needed to guarantee he was made fun of every day of his high school career. I had man boobs, and that was it. That was the two things.
All right, I feel very relaxed now.
I'm Hank Green. I make various kinds of content on the internet. I have for a long time. I make a lot of science stuff, but I also just make whatever is interesting to me.
I'm very excited for you. Have a good time.
In May of last year, 2023, I got diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, and I was sick for a long time. And during that time, I decided I would write a stand-up special about it. And I would see if I was any good at that. Comedy is so cool and good and hard. I mean, it's just dumb, but I was surprised how hard it was.
Please welcome Hank Green, everyone.
I had a bunch of stuff written, and then I asked Sarah Aswell if she'd be my coach. She's a comedian in Missoula. Basically, we rented a theater in Missoula every Monday for 8 weeks. Every one of those 8 weeks, we had 2 comedians from Missoula open for me. So 16 different comedians in the town of 60,000 people, and they all kicked ass. I was like, Jesus, like I'm the least funny person on stage every night. And I went from 10 minutes up to 70 in that time. Just required a lot of like Sarah being really honest with me and me talking to my wall a lot. What's your ant question?
We want to know the scientific name for each.
Oh, they'd be the same species.
Okay.
So it can be the same species.
Okay.
So ants, you know, they take all the, like there's a queen and there's workers and there's drones. So on the left is a drone and on the right would be a worker.
Okay.
Like deciding to do your cancer as stand-up comedy is probably a pretty weird decision, but like funny things kept happening. I wrote some jokes for my announcement video because I'm public enough that I needed to tell people.
And then I took the order for the surgery and like the paperwork down to the surgery office. And I like gave it to the woman at the window and she's like, ooh, hand delivery. And I was like, well, yeah, the surgery's tomorrow. And she's like, oh, procrastinator. And I was like, well, no, it just got scheduled just now. And then like her eyes changed.
And sometimes it was funny in the moment. And sometimes things that were not funny, that now are jokes, were happening.
Procrastinator.
And there was an element of like, wouldn't it be good if a good thing came out of my bad thing?
Hey, walk out like it's your show. Hey.
Hello, thank you all so much for coming out. You're all being paid. Everyone in the room. I've definitely always, like even as a kid, been interested in having an audience. The only time the bullies liked me was when I was doing something on a stage. And like, they didn't like me. So like, I must have been doing it well for them to be like, actually, good job. I will continue to punch you tomorrow though. And so that probably is, there's some stuff there. I think there's probably some stuff there. Pretty deep, not going away stuff. And then he rains down with the baseball bat on your face and then you realize, wait, I've never killed anybody. I was dreaming.
Right,
That's how that
awesome.
sequence goes.
Perfect, very funny. We're going to cover that very well.
I like that you say it's very funny
Is there
when
anybody- you
no
didn't
one
hear me
laughs.
like, we're all really loving it in the booth.
Yeah, okay. I think I just like to be liked.
I'm here to see Hank Green's comedy show. Hank Green. Hank Green. Hank Green.
Hank Green, of course. Hank Green.
Yeah.
We're here to see Hank Green perform.
I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this.
Hank, we love you.
We love you.
Have a good show.
Even before this, I've always sort of seen like being a public person as like what I show you is me, but it's not all of me, you know? And I think that everybody's like aware. Like I don't turn the camera on the bad days. And that's not because I don't want to show you the bad days. It's because like, I don't want to turn the camera on. And so I started to do this thing where like on my worst days, I would just post something on Twitter and it would be like, chemo update, this sucks a lot. I have a lot of people who have been through cancer or are in the midst of dealing with cancer at the shows, and I've been very nervous about that. There's this guy came to one of my first shows in Missoula, and he has a huge beard, so I couldn't like tell if he was laughing a lot. It's like really like all the way covered up. And the first night I crowd worked his wife, and then she talked about him, and she was like, he's a cancer survivor. And I was like, oh, and I like asked him a couple questions, and you know, when you're in it, there's a couple words you can say where that basically mean that I'm terminal without saying terminal. And he said those words. And I was like, oh, like, I don't, like, how is he gonna feel about this show from the guy who's probably gonna be fine? And, you know, and he's been through like 18 surgeries and has, you know, however long. And I couldn't really tell if he was laughing. So he has this big beard. And then 2 nights later, he was back. And I was like, whoa. And he brought his daughter. It was a surprise. And afterward we talked, and like, he was like, he was super into it, and like very kind and complimentary, and like he wanted to come by himself before bringing her.
And now, please welcome to the stage, Hank Green.
Hello! What's up? Oh man!
I make for people, and like I make to feel good and appreciated. Making people laugh is the best.
Such a good job. I get to make you guys laugh, and that's the whole job.
Like a week from now, I'm gonna be depressed because there's like so much neurotransmitter activity going on this week. You know, I'm used to it. I'll schedule it. I'll put it on my calendar. Today, if you're feeling depressed, this is why. Told you it was gonna happen.
I don't think I'm gonna go to sleep for a while. Yeah, it was pretty intense. I feel like I did it, and there's like a thing. Like I made a good thing out of a bad thing. I am mad that I dropped a joke. Both times. Yeah, the joke is when we were talking about the, all of our cells working together, like in like a marvelous dance of some kind. The joke is that one of your cells will absolutely murder themselves for you, and one of the a cell becomes a character, and it like runs up and it's like, I will die for you, and then it like gets in line, and it's like, I'm filling myself up with keratin, and I'm throwing out my organelles. What are we doing? And they're like, you're gonna become a hair, and he's like, okay, well, we'll get to make him look cute, and he's like, no, it's an ass hair.